guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, it is Thursday, so let's talk Turner syndrome. So for today's Turner syndrome video, or for this week's Turner syndrome video, I thought I would talk about another one of the symptoms or health complications that can come up. This one I've heard on varying degrees, and I don't actually know the statistics as far as how common it is, and especially how common severity to any degree with this is. But what I wanted to talk about was the hearing loss. So there is a heightened chance that you will either have less hearing from the beginning or start to lose your hearing. And I think that might be connected with the higher percentage rate of ear infections. And I know the reason for ear infections, at least for me, is how small my ear canals are. So I have always had, of course, very tiny ear canals. And so whenever I would get a ton of water in them, or when I would get sick and I would be congested and there would be all that sinus stuff, I have always got ear infections really easily, always. And while I have a family medical history that doesn't show great hearing, I feel like the ear infections probably do add to it. And I have never passed the hearing tests. When they did hearing tests in school, they would always flag mine and send a note home. And no matter what happened, every time I would get one of those sent back with me after they did a round of hearing tests, my mom would take me to the doctor and they would look at my ears, they would see how I responded, and they never saw it be severe enough to do anything about. So eventually she just started ignoring them because she was having me checked regularly and had taken me every single time they had flagged me with it. The doctors had always come to the same conclusion that, yeah, my hearing wasn't 100%, but it wasn't to a point of being a disability at all. It wasn't to a point of hindering any regular everyday life functioning. I could still hear in class. I still got good grades. I responded fine when people talked to me. It never interrupted anything. So they never did anything about it. And of course that's gotten a little progressively worse as I've gotten older. It's gotten slightly worse than it was probably. But it's never been that severe. It's just been this little filter of the way I hear things. And I just don't have the best hearing. So I end up asking people to repeat themselves a lot, or smiling and nodding because I don't want to ask a fourth time what they said, and I didn't catch it the third time either. So there's moments of that because of it, and there's wanting to be protective of my ears because I don't want it to get any worse, and keeping up on the hearing tests to make sure of where it's at. And if I legitimately felt like it was hindering my life at all, I would go in and do something about it. I would say something. I would take more serious action than I do if it was really hindering my life at all. There really hasn't been anything that it's affected that severely. It's just more I notice it than anything else. So my biggest conclusion as far as the science behind this that I found as to why a girl with Turner syndrome would have a more high probability of losing hearing would to me be because of the small ear canals and the already high likelihood of ear infections. Just every time your ears are damaged in any way or hurt in any way, it gets progressively worse. Once you lose those follicles in your ear that help you hear, you never get them back. They don't grow back. That's just a level of hearing loss that you're not going to get back. So that's why if you're not careful, you can completely lose your hearing. Or it can be to a point where it's almost not usable for you anymore. It's really a struggle. You're getting worse than just it's an annoyance at that point. And I've never wanted to pass that point, but I've found myself noticing more that even though it's not, I wouldn't say it's to that point, I'm noticing it more of there being more often often that I have to ask what somebody said. There being more often that I notice I didn't hear something as well. And that has kind of leaned me towards maybe it's gotten slightly worse. I don't know for sure. I actually, in all full disclosure, have still to do my hearing test for this year. That is one of the screenings I never got to. I need to go do that. Keep me accountable for that if I don't tell you guys I went and did that. Once things calm down, I need to schedule it and go get it done. It may not happen for a little bit because, as you guys know, things are crazy, but I do still need to get my hearing test for this year. So I always expect the same result though. Like, it's that same pattern of that hasn't changed much. Like, yeah, my hearing still isn't awesome. It's never been to a point where they've done anything. Anyways, so the only conclusion I've been able to come to is that the ear infections and the smaller ear canal just lead to a hindrance in ear function, and it throws in those wrenches every once in a while. And after ear infections build up, after over and over and over again that area being kind of messed with or damaged in any way, it builds up to a significant amount of hearing loss. And that's kind of why things like wearing earplugs when you need to and not listening to your music too loud or not listening to your TV too loud is important. On the other side of this, if it is to a point where you need to do something, I know there are amazing options. Depending on the severity, there are implants, there are hearing aids. The technology now is so advanced. You have so many options to try to help you have functional hearing. And even if you can't or you don't want to or it's too expensive and insurance doesn't cover it well enough, our society has increasingly become more hearing impaired friendly. We're closed captioning things more. We have, I feel like, more people that are familiar with sign language and can interpret enough to understand or can help, and more people are becoming passionate about that, to where the culture is slowly growing and growing in support of that, and there's more of a support system than I feel like there was before. And it's incredible to see things like that happen. And I don't know as much about getting help with this as probably some other people do. So if you have any other stories or information, I would love it if you shared those in the comments below. I just don't have enough experience to speak to those options, but I know there are amazing things that technology has brought us to help with hearing. So there is stuff out there to find. As per usual, get the hearing tests. Make yourself aware of how you're hearing. Pay attention to how well you're hearing things around you. It's crazy how well you can pick up on if your hearing's gotten worse if you just pay attention. That in and of itself will tell you something if there's things to be paid attention to. That is what I have on hearing loss. If there is anything I missed, anything you want to add, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Leave any questions in the comments as well, and I will try to answer it to the best of my ability or find an answer if I don't know the answer. And let's all make a deal to get our hearing tests done and keep up on that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful in some way. If it was, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, click the screen and subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!